Hey everyone, it's Kyle, Azoro Hype, your friendly neighborhood hype dealer. Since Game of Thrones Season 8 is only 18 days away, I thought it would be really fun to talk about 10 hype things that we need to see in Game of Thrones Season 8. This won't be your typical list of Arya and Jon reunions or Jaime killing Cersei, but some of the more crazy things we could see in the final season. One of the things we need to see in Game of Thrones Season 8 is Sandor Clegane using fire as a means to protect Arya or Sansa from the army of the dead at the Battle of Winterfell and overcoming his fear of fire. Fear and fire have played such an important role to molding the Hound's view of the world because of the terrible act committed onto him by his brother, the Mountain Gregor Clegane. As the seasons have progressed, we have seen Sandor become a better man and put all the bullshit aside to better focus on what's at stake in the current moment. The Hound is going to play a big role in the final season of Thrones, and I think it would be epic if we saw Sandor somehow use fire in a defensive or offensive way by protecting Arya or Sansa. I think it's more likely that the Hound ends up protecting and saving Sansa, since Arya looks like she will be busy creating a diversion to keep the Night King and the White Walkers away from Bran Stark. But maybe, just maybe, we will see Sandor Clegane use a fiery blade in Game of Thrones Season 8, much like Beric Dondarrion has over the past couple seasons. One of the things we need to see in Game of Thrones Season 8 is the new duo of Davos Seaworth and the little bear, Lady Lyanna Mormont. Davos has played such an integral role into bringing House Mormont into the fold for the Battle of the Bastards, and Lyanna played an important role in standing up for Jon when there was discord in the north. Lyanna is wise beyond her years, and Davos is one of the moral compasses of our story. So I think it would be epic if we saw Davos and Lyanna once again go to bat for Jon when everyone finds out that Jon bent the knee to Daenerys, and when Jon is revealed as Aegon Targaryen. And maybe we will see Davos and Lyanna develop an even greater bond, much like the one that Davos had with Shireen. One of the things that we need to see in Game of Thrones Season 8 is Essos. While the majority of our story has been set in Westeros, we still need to go to Essos one last time before the main series ends. And although it does look like we are getting more mysteries of the Far East and Essos in the Game of Thrones prequel, I still believe it's really important that we see the Great Red Temple of R'hllor in Volantis and Melisandre recruiting the Fiery Hand to fight in the War for Dawn. I think it would be epic if we saw an army of Red Priests and the Fiery Hand join the War for Dawn and support Daenerys and Jon Snow's alliance to finally break the wheel once and for all. And maybe we will see Red Priests revive members from the side of the living and counter the Night King's necromantic magic in an effort to balance the scales in Game of Thrones Season 8. One of the things we need to see in Game of Thrones Season 8 is another Tormund Giantsbane and Brienne of Tarth interaction. We all know that Game of Thrones Season 8 is going to be dark and full of terrors and death, but I believe that we will need to see some epic moments of comedy mixed in there as well. And what better than seeing Tormund and Brienne not only have an awkward interaction again, but also fight together in the War for Dawn. One of the things that we need to see in Game of Thrones Season 8 is Arya saying, "Fuck the Queen," much like the Hound said "fuck the King" when he decided to leave Joffrey Baratheon's Kingsguard. If Arya is to truly have an epic role in the final season of Game of Thrones, we will need to see some sort of resolution and elimination to the remaining names on her list. And while I think Jaime Lannister is still the best candidate to kill his sister Cersei Lannister, we shouldn't rule out the possibility of Arya doing some ninja faceless man badassery in Game of Thrones Season 8. And I mean, wouldn't it be insane if she ended up getting revenge on Cersei for all of the terrible shit she's done? Maybe we could see Arya finally regain some innocence at the end of her journey if she finally crosses the other names off her list. One of the things we need to see in Game of Thrones Season 8 is more backstory on the Night King and epic symbolism like we saw in the Dragonglass cave scene and flashbacks to the creation of the Night King. While I don't think we will get all the answers we want concerning the White Walkers, the Children of the Forest, and the magic of the Old Gods in Season 8, we absolutely need to get more information on who the Night King was before and how he can be defeated. Obviously, they've set up Bran Stark as the lens into this unique style of magic while being able to view the past in the Weirwood net. But I believe there's a much bigger twist and something more shocking that we need to learn about the greater wheel of the story. Maybe the Night King is a Stark, or perhaps he is an Andal, and the timeline of the Long Night is wrong. Either way, we need more answers, and we need more epic flashbacks and symbolism to explain what really happened in Game of Thrones Season 8. One of the things we need to see in Game of Thrones Season 8 is the super pack of wolves joining the fight in the War for Dawn. Yes, dragons are amazing, but George R.R. Martin's previous title for the last book of the A Song of Ice and Fire series, before he changed it to A Dream of Spring, was A Time for Wolves. And while this is more than symbolically linked to the resurgence of the Starks and the realms of men uniting and gathering like a pack, we actually need to see more actual wolves in these epic battles in Game of Thrones Season 8. We have been promised more Ghost in Season 8, but will we get more Nymeria and maybe even a super pack? Let's hope we do. One of the things that we need to see in Game of Thrones Season 8 is an epic sea battle between Theon Greyjoy and his uncle Euron Greyjoy. While I believe we will see an epic redemption arc for Theon Greyjoy, I'm not so sure what the show has in store for Euron. He's so different from his book version, but hopefully they will take some of the super scary and terrible stuff Euron does in the books and insert it into the final season of A Game of Thrones. I would love to see him become a more crazed and deranged version of Euron and someone that poses a threat to the realms of men in Game of Thrones Season 8 other than the Night King and Cersei Lannister. One of the things that we need to see in Game of Thrones Season 8 is Drogon killing Viserion like how Drogo killed Viserys Targaryen in Season 1, with a crown of molten fire. Drogon is one of the biggest wildcards in the fight against the Night King and his army, and since the Night King now has his own dragon, it's going to be incredibly difficult for him to be defeated. However, Drogon is much larger than Viserion and hopefully will become Balerion the Black Dread size in Game of Thrones Season 8. And I think it would be fitting if we have some of these echoes of the past be present in the final season of A Game of Thrones. I mean, come on. Who wouldn't want to see Drogon kill Viserion like how Drogo killed Viserys, by melting his face off? And another thing we absolutely have to see in Game of Thrones Season 8, and this one is my favorite of all of them, is Jaime Lannister saying, "Burn them all" at the Battle of Winterfell to Daenerys, asking her to destroy the Whites and White Walkers, or alternatively, Jaime making a final stand against the White Walkers and the Night King, igniting the wildfire and destroying the army of the dead. It would be so crazy to see Jaime have to resort to do the very thing that made him become a Kingslayer when he killed Mad King Aerys Targaryen. And I do believe we will have some sort of shocking moments that will end up being ironic in the end of the story. So maybe, just maybe, we will see Jaime Lannister say "burn them all" in an attempt to make sure the realms of men do not experience a crushing blow in the War for Dawn. These are 10 things I think we need to see in Game of Thrones Season 8, and I think it will be really fun if I do another 3 or 4 videos with more lists of 10 talking about these epic moments that we need to see in the final season of A Game of Thrones. But what are the things that you think we need to see in Game of Thrones Season 8? I would love to hear your suggestions and thoughts in the comment section, and I would love to see you all make your own list, and perhaps we can even feature some of your amazing suggestions in the next video. Also, some other great news, I will be appearing on 4 panels at Con of Thrones in Nashville this July. I'm very excited to be doing some panels and collaborations with other awesome content creators in the Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones community. I'm also going to be doing video logs about my experience in Nashville and hopefully some interviews with the actors and actresses and people that work on the show. I will be uploading content from Con of Thrones here on the channel when I'm at Con of Thrones. I have set up a GoFundMe to help me get to Nashville, as the flights and hotels are damn expensive, so any donation really helps out the channel, as we definitely want to be able to participate in this awesome event. The link to my Patreon, GoFundMe, and social media is in the description of this video. Have an awesome day, everyone, and thanks for watching. Hype and love.
Hype and love.
Hype and love. Hype and love.
Hype and love.
Hype and love family. We're at Con of Thrones.
Hype and love. Our family here at Dallas. Come on, that's right. Can we get a hype and love?
Hype and love!